Steve, Rotherham then, last chance for everyone to impress?
Well, listen, he's done a fabulous job, that's for sure. And typical Neil Warnock, he's created a spirit and an attitude amongst them where they're going to be difficult to play against, difficult to beat. And we couldn't have wished for a more tougher game going into the Derby game, obviously. And where last week at Bolton, we could see it reminded me so much of the couple of games we had before the FA Cup final a couple of years ago, where people didn't really want to get injured, played at a sort of half a pace, which is probably human nature. When you've got a huge big game, nobody really wants to get injured. But it's a big chance, you're right, to impress. Really, I've got an idea of what team I'm going to play anyway against Derby. And but of course in football, there's still 10 days before that. So it's important that a few play. We've rotated a little bit in the last month or so. So we've got nearly enough a fully fit squad to choose from. So let's hope I choose the right one.
Do you risk showing your hand tomorrow, or do you?
I really don't give a flying to whether I show it or not. At the end of the day, a playoff game, they'll have an idea, just like I've got Derby's idea. I went to Brighton on Monday to go and have a look at Derby. We've played them twice. I've seen them 5 times this year. We know Derby, and I'm sure Darren Wassell knows us. Whoever I play, you see the rugby teams announcing their games on a Wednesday now before they play on a Saturday. So, yes, it shows me hand possibly, but then again, I've got to get some football into the lads who probably need it.
During the week, have you worked on getting that performance last weekend out of the system?
Well, whenever you play poorly, it's disappointing, because if I'm going to be brutally honest, the reason why we're fourth instead of first or second is that inconsistency. We've gone from a really, really top performance against Brentford, who were the informed team, to play against Bolton, where, let's be fair, we never kicked the ball. So I'm expecting the playoffs and Rotherham to be totally different, especially the playoff games are going to be one-off, huge games, great to be involved in. And I know for a fact that we'll be a different kettle of fish to what we were against Bolton last week. I sincerely hope so, anyway.
You mentioned you're nearly at a clean bill of health. Any fresh injuries after last week? Or?
No, there wasn't going to be either, was there? The way they performed, we're not going to pick up any injuries in that. So, no, we're fine. Everybody's trained okay. There's still the big concerns over Nick Powell and Myler in particular. But we'll see how they are.
Is Abel fit to play? I know you've wrapped him in cotton wool over the last couple of games.
Abel had a nasty kick on his ankle, but he's fine. He's trained all week. Yes, I mean, he's had a wonderful season, crowned off by being Player of the Year. And of course, he's got 20 goals to his name in something like 30, 40 games, wherever it is. So he's been very important to us, and let's still hope that there's a few goals in the locker yet.
Just one from me. What's Igor here from Brazil?
Wow. Has he brought a few players over?
Well, there you go. You played for the biggest club certainly in the country, if not the world, in Manchester United. So what do you make of Hull City beginning to make inroads into world football and getting some recognition?
Well, I think that's the reason why we all want to be involved in the Premier League. The Premier League gives you, it's beamed all around the world, and you're on the map. If you're in the Premier League the way it is, it opens the door to anywhere, basically. The number of, for example, pre-season games a year ago when we were in the Premier League, we were asked to go to the Far East, we're asked to the Middle East, we're asked to go to America, is testament to what the Premier League is. And now the Premier League, for me, has been given the huge boost of Leicester winning the league, has give every smallish club an idea of, well, if they can do it, I'm never sure it'll be repeated again, but it's give that magical of how honest and how genuine the Premier League is.
Thank you very much.
Steve, sorry, did you go to the under-21s on?
Yes, I did.
What did you make of that?
Well, they were terrific. I mean, I have to say, Tony, and the one thing that pleases me enormously is that we've got to a final. The strides that we've made in 2.5 years is there for everybody to see. we've got some good young players, which needed improving. Hopefully it can keep improving. We can keep producing some young players, because there's nothing quite like bringing your own through, and we haven't had too many over the last few years. So it was good to see them. It was always heartbreaking when you lose on penalties, but overall in the 2 games against a big team like West Ham, they've acquitted themselves very, very well. So very, very pleased for Tony, the players, and of course his staff, who've, as I've said, over 2.5 years have worked fantastically well.